the fundamental human nature. So what's happening here is people think, other people have the potential to do bad to me. Masculine honor is defensive. It's getting ready to deal with this. Nicely said. Also, related to more support for war and torture. Why does this make sense?
Because like if they're willing to hang a guy for stealing their sheep, why wouldn't we torture somebody to get information we need?
Absolutely. If it's important for our defense, our security, and our well-being, then do it. Right? The lines are not that far for them to get, the lines are not that strong, I should say. They're willing to step over lines to do these kinds of things. And waterboarding, why did they make that illegal? Guys hiring masculine honor might do that. And actually I read this crazy study, I might even talk about it before. They did a content analysis of videos of guys waterboarding each other. And one of the things they talked about is there are absolute honor elements going on in there. People talking about this as not even being that bad. Spoiler alert, it is. But basically it says it's okay to waterboard your enemies because that is important for my security and well-being. And more negative perceptions of both rapists and women who have been raped. So we have this really weird kind of relationship with sexual violence, or attitudes towards sexual violence for guys and women, higher masculine honor beliefs.
Is this like where they believe that like the woman asked for it, like wearing provocative clothing?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay.
Now, it does correlate a little bit with rape myths, is what you're talking about, but that's not what I think is going on here completely. Okay, Sarah was going to chime in.
Isn't it like their purity is gone?
Okay, so what happens is, anyone know what an honor killing is? Honor killings happen less in the United States than maybe some other countries, but what happens is, after a woman typically has been dishonored, after she's experienced rape, sometimes the members of her family will kill her. And they will kill her to remove the stain of dishonor from their family. Right? So what happens, you'll see the rape on her to be an insult to their entire lineage. So what we found in these United States samples is that people higher in masculine honor see rape as a really, really bad thing. And they want to punish rapists, and they want to make sure really bad things happen to them. But they're not that supportive of counseling services and things like that relatively. Because they share in some of this belief that there has been dishonor. There's been a contamination of sorts morally on the woman who's been raped. Now, I'm not saying this is true. Please understand that. I'm saying that these are things that are correlated with masculine honor. And what that means is when the protection is offered, it might not be protection necessarily for her as an individual. It's protection for the group, the family's honor.
So it's very utilitarianistic.
Absolutely. Very instrumental here. Scott.
So in like honor killings though, is the like the sister or whatever, does the sister agree to this or they like kill her themselves?
I'm going to speculate that the sister doesn't want to be killed.
Right, that was something that I wanted to know. You never know, like
No, it's absolutely. Now, the empirical work on honor killings is not very good. Most of that work is anecdotal and qualitative in nature. We'll say that it appears that she is not complicit in this, but that the family forces it upon her. And these individual differences can be seen. You can pick these up. So this is a paper that is in press. Both Connor and Evelyn co-authored this paper with me. And in essence, what we think is that if you want to be someone not to be messed with, it would be advantageous to you to give off some kind of aura, some kind of sense to other people that you shouldn't be messed with. So maybe you're going to go get buff. Maybe you're going to get tattoos. Maybe you're just going to make a lot of uncomfortable eye contact. But you might do some kinds of things to let other people know, don't mess with me. So we wondered, could we pick this up on guys? So we had a questionnaire study. We had people sitting in a room like this. It was actually 456, 452, if any of you have labs. Those are the questionnaire rooms, right? And what happened is some of you may have been experimenters in that study. I'm looking around and nobody's nodding. But Emilio was in there and a couple others were. People filled out a packet of measures. They had a bunch of measures in there. One of them was their masculine honor belief scale. At the end, what did they do? What would you do when you're done your questionnaire? You walk up and hand it to the experimenter. In the time it took them to walk up to the experimenter, our experimenters observing, we had 2 in the room. And what they did is they rated his masculine honor ideology from 1 to 9. So just kind of looked at him and said, how much is this a guy I shouldn't mess with? Wrote it down 1 to 9. That was it. We found not only did they significantly correlate with each other, it significantly correlated with his scores.
Wow.
What happened is in that 10-foot walk, they could pick up whether or not this was a guy that was sending out those signals, don't mess with me, or not. And what we argued is they're making themselves hard targets. They're making themselves guys that aren't going to be messed with, so they're going to be less likely to be provoked in the future. This stuff is cool. Read it. It's awesome. Now, there's an example I want to share with you when I saw some of this play out. My son is named Liam, and when this happened, he was almost 3 years old. All right, so little dude. So it was spring break, so it's almost the anniversary of this, right? It was spring break, and it was a dreary, gray, rainy day in Kansas. My wife was away at a conference. I had 2 kids in the house. They were driving me crazy. And I said, I need to take them somewhere to get out their wiggles. So I said, McDonald's has a play area. The food is horrible, but McDonald's has a play area. So we went, we had lunch, and they're playing in the play area. Now the play area at McDonald's basically means they have a slide, right? That's the extent of the play area. So kids are walking up, they're coming down the slide. So my 2-year-old boy, who is in the 9th percentile in height and weight, which means that he is tiny, right? So my tiny 2-year-old son comes down the slide and bumps into a monster of a 6-year-old. My little boy tries to get by him. The monster of a 6-year-old pushes my son down. My son says, no! He's proud of this. Tries to get by the 6-year-old again. Pushes my son down again. My son, zero fear, zero hesitation, gets up and drills this kid in the chest. Does no damage, right? Because he is 2 years old. But now parents are activated, right? I'm running in, the parent of the 6-year-old is running in, I'm grabbing Liam, she's grabbing her kid, we're getting them out of it. Because you have to leave McDonald's after you start a brawl. Right? So I get him in the car and I'm driving home like, oh man, my wife's going to hear about this, right? She's not a big fan of McDonald's, right? So we're driving home. We're driving home and I'm like, Liam, you can't be hitting kids. He's like, Daddy, I didn't hit him. Like, dude. Not upset that you hit him for reasons we'll talk about in a second. But you can't be hitting kids. So Daddy, I didn't hit him. I said, all right, now you're in trouble, right? Because now you're lying to me. I saw it, I was there, you hit that kid. He said, Daddy, I did not hit him. I hit him back. And what happened is my 2-year-old son was able to put together that there's a difference from offense and defense. There is a difference between starting the fight and standing up for yourself. And then my wife heard about it and I got in trouble. But what happens is, my little boy, right there, my little boy went from this guy, when no one's messing with him, to this guy, when people are messing with him, right? This is how masculine honor works, right? Until the aggression is needed. The person is actually more polite. Why?
They're trying to de-escalate it.
Because they want to de-escalate. So what happens is, if you bump into someone, you understand this guy might kill you. So what happens if you did not mean to bump into this guy, you say, oh, I'm sorry, man, that was my bad. And we have research to show that masculine honor is negatively correlated with aggression in those situations. But if you bump into that guy and don't apologize or even insult him, now it is on. Right? Because the switch flips. From this guy who is looking not to create the provocation that results into aggression, to the guy who needs that aggression to maintain his perception as a hard target. Does this make some sense? Alright. The next way that we can increase honor is to teach him how to do it. And for this, I'm asking Connor to come up and help me. Alright. So let's say that I am in a bar and I'm confronted with someone who does not want to be messed with. I have a hard target in front of me. I have bumped into him. I've said, I'm so sorry that I spilled the beer, but he is not listening. Right? He is upset, and I can't easily talk my way out of this situation. Because that's the first thing you should do. No one should leave this saying, hey, I'm going to jack people up. That is not the role. That's not what we're learning here today. So Connor's looking at me. He's bigger than me. He's stronger than me. If he punches me, he's going to break me. So I'm going to say, you know what? Dude, I don't want any of this. Right? I'm not making eye contact. Why am I not making eye contact?
Because it's like assertive.
Right, that's assertive. I don't want to do that. I don't want to provoke him. I might look a little nervous. I might shake a little bit because I want to let him know that I'm
You're not as tough as him.
not as tough as him. I'm not a hard target. You're a hard target, right? So how do I do this? What have I done with my body?
You've made a defensive stance.
I made a defensive stance. I'm hoping he doesn't pick this up, right? I don't want to make this look like a fighting stance. This is actually called side-facing stance, right? Now what happens is I've also dipped my chin behind my shoulder. Why have I done that? So he can't hit me in the chin and knock me out, right? I put my hands up into a defensive position that I can block if he attacks me. So what happens is, this guy typically is either going to do one of two things. He's going to posture, which means he's going to walk around like this, right? You do not have to worry about dudes posturing. You do have to worry about dudes bowing. Because bowing means that they're actually ready to engage. So what I would be doing is I would be watching him, he's posturing, we're fine. But if he bows, that would take him out. Alright? So what happens is, Connor, what you're going to do now is you're going to bail. Because the hook kick actually doesn't, it's flashy, it gets you your attention, but it doesn't really do much damage. So what happens is, I might go here, I see him bow, I come up, but then I step in, and I hit him a little bit harder. So now the spinning back kick, I can actually generate some power and get him off me. I've now created space and I can leave. Now, I've been doing this for over 20 years, probably a little easier. The only concern is, do I rip out my pants? And we didn't, so this is good. Right? But you may not be. You may be in a situation like this and say, okay, hook kick, spinning back kick, what are you doing with his feet? And not know how to do that. So we're going to teach you something really easy to do.